Oh, and hello, and hello, 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 hello. It's us, we're here. It's Bank Holiday Monday. Happy Bank Holiday to everybody who's watching. For those of you that can bother yourselves to pry yourself away from your Easter eggs and that big, massive chocolate binge that you're on, thank you very much for being here. And it's not just me. It's not just me, that D-O-double-G. I'm here with my friend who's always here permanently. The most permanent member of the podcast is Charlotte. Hi, Charlotte. How are you?
Hello, I'm really good, thank you. How is everyone?
Do you know what? I'm so good. I'm a bit chocolate comatose. My attempts at dieting, which I did make an attempt to start dieting. That was my plan, because I went for a job interview the other week, and to try and find clothes that fitted made me cry. I ended up there with like this thing that was really choking my neck out, and these trousers that were too tight. It was horrific. But yes, no, I'm all done in. But thank you very much, Charlotte. And you will note this. It's not just me and Char. It's a face you may not have seen before unless you were one of the lucky many, many people that checked out our All About Everton episode. It's Kiva. It's Kiva Knox. OMG. How are you, Kiva?
I'm good. How are you?
Wonderful. And she's so polite. I mean, Kiva, she might be our friend. She might be a long-term friend. You never know. You never know what's going to happen. And in the chat, we've got Lisa. Hello.
Hi,
Thank
Lisa.
you very much for joining us. And I hope you're doing well as well. And people who weren't doing very well. Lucas wasn't doing very well this weekend. He started doing very well. Oh, there's somebody else in the chat. We'll say hello. Hello, Heather, as well. Thank you for dropping in. I hope you're doing well and having a lovely, lovely day. And look, you got a special one-off welcome as well, because you're special, Kiva. Look at that. Look at that. But yeah, Lucas had a wonderful half a day, and then the other half went down the toilet as they drew Liverpool 2, Arsenal 2. He isn't here, so I can't ask him how he feels. So I will tell you how it's made me feel. I felt that they wasted the opportunity. What a waste of opportunity for Arsenal. Haha, yes, I did love it. And haha was my response when I saw it. I think when you're chasing the title and you're 2-0 up at halftime, if you draw that game, more fool you. I think that was dreadful. I mean, Shah, what did you think? How did that game make you feel?
I feel a bit bad, to be honest, because I put in the group chat, I kind of made a joke about it, and I was like, oh, do you want Lucas on instead of me so we can like kind of laugh at you? And as soon as I put that, Salah scored. So I think Lucas isn't my friend now, to be fair. But yeah, I agree. It was a wasted opportunity, especially considering that Manchester City, I think they've got easier fixtures. I don't see them dropping points. I think possibly maybe the Arsenal and Brighton game, if anything, but the fixtures of Manchester City's are quite straightforward. Yeah, I feel like it's a chance that really they should have took upon, but you can't really fault Liverpool because second half, I thought they should have won. The chances they had, honestly, I've got some of the stats up here. And 21 goal attempts to Arsenal's 9. They've had 59% possession. And I just think to myself, like, and the Mo Salah penalty as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Chris is saying in the chat, he's cracking at penalties, Chris. That Mo Salah, yes, I think, that he should be done now. He should be done. Heather's saying maybe Bournemouth rattled him and he can't get a pen in. Maybe it was a particular ball he used and they still haven't been able to find it. It's probably in the channel or something somewhere. Yeah, I know we should have done. I think we could have done that. I mean, from a Liverpool fan, what is annoying, and it really is annoying, we can do that. We've still got that in our locker, and we've got that capability, but we can't get rid of the crap on the other side that we seem to be filtering through at the moment. I mean, Kiva, as our resident Liverpool occupant, as in living in the area, isn't a Liverpool fan before anybody gets on here.
Yeah, no, don't put that title on me.
No. I mean, what did you think of the game? How did that make you feel?
I think I was really annoyed with Arsenal, to be honest. Like, I mean, I hate both sides equally, but I really wanted Arsenal to win because it's against Liverpool. But to be 2-0 up, and then, I mean, I'm not being funny. What was Van Dijk doing at the back? That was all. He was half asleep for the first half. And then the second half, like, Liverpool was so much better than Arsenal, as Charlotte said, like, dominated them. But, yeah, they just wasted it at the end of the first half.
I mean, Chris in the chat. Chris is a United fan. Just for reference, when Liverpool take the chance against United, but other teams who waste them. I just because United aren't as good as the other teams that we've faced, and that's why we found it much easier. But I just, it's so frustrating. And I think a question that Sam asked us in our group chat to bring out in the pod, what do I think of Van Dijk at the moment? It wasn't, he worded it much better. He was a bit of a wordsmith, but I can't remember exactly what he said. But it's basically along the lines of what's going on with Van Dijk. And I genuinely think, I'd see this here on, this would be an interesting one. I think one Pickford tried to kill Van Dijk in the COVID season when he came out and scissored him and smashed his knee up. I don't think he's been better since then. I honestly think his knee, that his confidence to a degree is gone, is shot a little bit. And I mean, having that sort of injury, the knee ligaments being snapped by some lunatic careering at you, who I imagine he was screaming. I like to think in my mind's eye as he came out, he was going, ah! And, like that. But yeah, I think his confidence has gone a little bit, and his decision making isn't quite as sharp as it has been, because he has been dreadful. And Chris in the chat, yeah, for all of our audio listeners, incidentally, everyone listening on Spotify, Amazon Prime Music, whatever the other audio stuff is, and we are live 8 p.m. Monday on YouTube and Twitch. Chris is asking, did I see the Jamie Carragher tweet? I did. I don't know if anyone else has. Anybody else seen it?
I've not seen it.
So he's basically, there was a question about Vidic, Niamanda Vidic, and is he as good as Virgil van Dijk? And Carragher's basically come out and said, yeah, Virgil van Dijk is the pimp daddy. He's better than Vidic. He was better than Rio. He was better than Terry. More consistent. He's really gone like full like he really loves them.
It rattled me. Nemanja Vidic, right? I'm a neutral, I'm a Rochdale fan, but Nemanja Vidic is one of my favourite ever players because I love just like how he was as a defender. Like he was really, he put himself out there, so passionate. He wasn't afraid like most players are like these days. And honestly, I saw the tweet and it rattled me, and I'm a Rochdale fan.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think, Kiva? Are you on board with that?
No, not having that. Honestly, Van Dijk this season's been awful, and last season. Jamie Carragher's clearly on another planet watching something else. So.
Well, I mean, Chris has said he must be smoking crack, and Heather's analysis I really like. He's a bit of a knob.
I saw him. Some people on Twitter though were doing the same, and they were putting like this picture up, and it was Van Dijk, Vidic, Ferdinand, John Terry and Carvalho. And I just thought to myself, are you really putting him in that category? And don't get me wrong, Van Dijk had a couple of really good seasons and he was up there as one of the best, defenders in that time in Premier League. Yeah. I will not fault that. But to put him in that category with like Vidic and stuff is just ridiculous. And that's not me like having any being biased because I do like Nemanja Vidic. I just think like you can't really put them in the same category. But then, sorry, what frustrates me as well, this is what really rattles me. Then you've got Liverpool fans saying, oh no, Vidic isn't good because Fernando Torres did this and that against Vidic. And it's like, yeah, we might have had good games against Nemanja Vidic, but that's one game. That's one or two games against each other. And that's because
Torres is really good.
Exactly. But then again, I'm sure out of them games, he's only actually scored 3 goals while Vidic has been in defence. I'm sure that was a stat where he's only scored, don't get me wrong, Vidic has been sent off against Torres, but I'm sure he's only scored 3 goals while Vidic was obviously in the defence for Manchester United.
I mean, when we went back, if you go back a season, I on the last podcast I was in, we did a all-time Premier League 11. And for me, at that point in time, before this season, for me, Vidic is in Virgil van Dijk is in the conversation. Yeah. I would put him up there. I wouldn't say. I mean, I begrudgingly, and anybody that knows me knows I don't like John Terry. He's not a very nice human being. He's done some disgraceful things that I think he should be reprimanded severely for. But I think when you look at the stats, statistically, I think we compared them, and I will admit that my bias shone through beautiful, like a beautiful shining beacon from the top of the hill. Statistically, if you put him up against Rio Ferdinand as a ball-playing defender, he was much better in regards to the passes that he makes, tackles, interceptions, and all of that. But in fairness, it's a different style of defending at that point in time. Rio Ferdinand was the first to sort of stimulate that sort of defender. But John Terry, I hate John Terry, but for me, he's probably number one in regards to his consistency. He's one of the top goal scoring defenders I think there's ever been. He's the only defender that I've seen that is able to get away with, actually saving the ball with his hands outside of the box and not getting carded. I think that's quite unique. But yeah, it was a weird one. And this season, I think the trajectory that Virgil van Dijk's on at the moment, I wouldn't be upset if he shunted him out at the end of the season.
Do you think as well it is because, like, at the minute, a few of the players are low on confidence? Maybe that is one of the reasons why he's so shaky as well, because it's not just Van Dijk, is it? There's a lot of players who are obviously like not up to obviously the form they have been in the past few seasons. So maybe it's not just him. Maybe it's the team as a whole.
Yeah, I would say that everybody's, and that's why I think you get them patches of brilliance because it's like they're playing on confidence at the moment. There's something not quite right, and then when they click and they get that boost and they're like, "Oh, we're used to this. This is how we work." Then they flourish and do beautifully, like that second half. And I'm not sure. So we need a lot of change. We need a lot of change in the summer. But I mean, quickly going through the chats. I mean, Chris enjoyed your stat of 3 goals in 15 games. He thinks that Rio, Vidic, and Terry are the best. I mean, I would probably say, to be honest, for me, Terry and Vidic are probably the top 2 personally. Do you concede or do you concur to that, Kira? What do you think?
No, I agree. I think you're not going to get much better than that. But I don't like John Terry either, but
I know he's a horrible, man. How about you, Shah?
Yeah, I completely agree. Obviously, the partnerships as a whole, like Rio and Vidic, and then you've got like Carvalho and Terry, who were obviously at Chelsea at the time. I think those 2 pairings, I think they were one of the best.
Yeah,
obviously in the Premier League.
I tell you, I used to quite like William Gallas. I used to really enjoy his defending, and he was versatile across the back line. I quite like that. And Chris is saying that yes, and yeah, Liverpool prove once they click, it's on. And I think there's a confidence element going there, and we're getting old and we're struggling. But for me, that's definitely before we move on, we're all in agreement. That's 2 points lost for Arsenal, surely.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
Any lunatic that tries to say it's 1 point gained, it's not. When you're ahead and you go behind, that means you've lost something. That doesn't mean that you've gone forward. That's coming backwards. And coming backwards is losing.
If they would have won that game, my money would have obviously been on them to like go on and win. But now there's part of me that's thinking maybe City will go on and win it because they've messed up now.
Do you know what? I was thinking that in the car yesterday because where are they, Arsenal? Let me see if I can pull up their fixture list because it's not nice for Arsenal now. So they've got West Ham at West Ham's ground, which is going to be tricky because West Ham, they need it. They need the results. I mean, Southampton's a bit of a gimme, but then they've got Man City. They've got Chelsea. Who knows?
Easy win.
You're
joking.
Yeah, I wouldn't have said so, but yeah, if Frank Lampard's still in charge, that's a 8-0 all day long. But they've got Newcastle at Newcastle, Brighton at Brighton, Nottingham Forest at Nottingham Forest, who are going to be struggling, and then they've got Wolves. Who will, they'll be at the end of the season, won't matter. But they've got some big games, and I think if that shot their confidence, which it could have done, because how the hell do you go from dominating for half an hour to, let's be fair, getting a thorough thrashing? Some people pay for a thrashing that hard that they received in the last 60 minutes. If they haven't picked up a good run of points before they reach the City game, I think City are going to have them, and that'll be it. And they've done their bit. But in the chat, Chris is saying thinks SRU wasn't too bad. I like the SRU, and it's a nice, lovely name to say. Lisa's saying in football, you have good players, average play. I think we have players who are aging. I think they were really good players. I think they're getting old now. Henderson Milner is actually the same age as me. Believe it or not. I struggle bending over to like pick something up off the floor, so I'm not going to knock him. the fact that he's still doing it. But yeah, I just think they're all just getting old. We need a bit of a refresh. And Ramsdale, 2 brilliant saves. He was.
Yeah.
Definitely. I remember one of the best people. I've never met him, so I don't know. But I love his aggression that he has. I love that. I love a mental keeper. Lisa doesn't think that they're going to beat City. In fact, she thinks City are going to stuff Arsenal. As do I. And how did Kanate miss at the end? Because he's central defender. That's right. That's what I'm putting that down to. I'm not going to judge him. He's about 21, 22.
Craig Dawson wouldn't have missed.
What was it you called him the other day? His nickname? God, I can't remember.
Ballon Dawson. That's what all West Ham fans call him. All West Ham fans call him that.
That was sensational. But yeah, but I think it's points lost. I don't know what's happening at Liverpool, but I think Arsenal they could really do themselves. But now we've had a bit of a warm up. Now it's on to the big one. We're going to hand over to someone that allegedly has more knowledge than me and Sharon and personally invested in one of these games. We're going to move over to Man United 2, Everton 0. Kiva, how did that make you feel?
Depressed as per usual, but I wasn't going in there expecting a win. Obviously, Man United need those 3 points because they're challenging for Champions League, and obviously they've got the Europa League as well. Obviously, we do need the points desperately, but again, Ellis Sims started his second start now for Everton, but he started in 2 massive games. He starts at Anfield for the derby and then at Old Trafford for this. It's just too much pressure on a young kid, and obviously he did have that great chance. Is he 21, 22?
No.
I think. But obviously he had that great chance in the first half, but again, as I said, it's his only second start for Everton, and I think he thought he had less time than what he actually did, so did miss that one. But again, it was a really comfortable win for Man United. I think they had 29 shots in all. So if it wasn't for Jordan Pickford, I think we would have been about 8-0 in the first half.
Do you know what Chris is saying in the chat? They should have been 6-1 up in the first half. So he's giving you a goal there, which is really lovely. I mean that's he's meant to be quite good in these Sims, potentially.
Yeah, I think he will be once he obviously gets more game time and isn't subbed on in the 80th minute all the time. I think he will. He'll get there eventually.
And Nana, you mentioned in the podcast we did, which if you haven't checked it out and you want some more wonderful Kira time, you can check it out all about Everton podcast, which is on YouTube. But you mentioned Onana. You didn't see the fuss in Onana.
No.
How did he do anything to sway your thoughts? Because I've noticed he was subbed off.
No, we just disappeared into the background like usual. He's a really lazy player. He's one of them that he'll go up to the crowd, he'll kiss the badge, he'll hype everybody up, and everyone loves him. But what's he done? What has he actually done in the game?
So no, he did nothing for you. But Mr. Pickford, then did somebody mention and Heather in the chat? Do you think you're going to keep Pickford?
I hope so. I don't want to think about him leaving. Everyone says we'll be fine without him. No, we won't.
Is anyone linked to him then? I haven't sseen anything.
No, we signed a new contract a couple of months ago with us. I think it was a 3-year contract extension. I'm not sure. But I don't see him leaving anytime soon. I hope not anyway.
And Chris in the chat says you need a striker because without Dominic Calvert-Lewin, you're without. I mean, he's confident. I love the 4-4-2. God bless Sean Dyche. That is the thing of beauty. I mean, what do you do though? Because in reality, you can't depend on him because he's always going to be injured. But that means that you need to really splash out a little bit on somebody top draw, and then you're sort of sidelining Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Then, what do you think the answer is?
Well, personally, I think the answer is Ellis Sims. Once he gets his confidence going, right. I said it in the other podcast. He's the same height as DCL. We don't need more pay. More pay is not the answer for anything. So once we get a like-for-like swap for DCL, will be okay.
Oh, I don't know quite what the question is. If the answer is Neil Maupay, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Would you want to be relegated? Yeah, right. Here's Maupay.
Who do I wish we never signed? Chris is it? Might you put Michael Keane up front?
Yeah, I have been rooting for this all season. You don't understand him or Yerry Mina. I need up front. I think it'll be perfect. I think it'll work really well.
Yeah, I've not obviously I've not seen enough of Everton to sort of pass judgment on that one. But Chris said you should have brought somebody in January. No, my understanding is though you are skating a fine line with the Premier League's fair play lines. In fact, I would say it is only because the Premier League are being very generous in accepting reasons for your losses that you aren't over it already. Am I about right?
Yeah.
Because I think
it is. It's getting there now. I think we've had too many warnings.
I think you've allowed 300 million loss, and I'm sure Everton were like 280, 290, but we've spent loads of money on this stuff and loads of money on this stuff over here.
Well, Chris said midfielders. That's what we've done.
Loads of them. But Chris said when you put people on 8-year contracts, play at Chelsea, that's what you should have done. You should have said to Sims and Pickford.
Yeah, you've got to stay now until the end of your career. Sorry.
Spread it over, but that's all on Everton. I mean, Shah, as our closest geographical to United, how did United play in your opinion? How are they looking? Do you think?
I think they played better than they have been previously. Obviously they have struggled. Like mentioned before, they should have been 5-6 goals up, I think, in the first half. I always thought Manchester United would win that game, but I potentially thought maybe Dyche could get something out of it because in the past with Burnley, I know he's kind of done the job against United, like maybe got a 1-0 win or he's done a job with Burnley. So that was my only worry for Manchester United. And obviously Casemiro not being in, but he's back now, isn't he? But yeah, I think it was the Manchester United what we've seen before the blip, but obviously Rashford went off injured as well, which is don't know what's happened with Rashford, whether he's okay or.
Well, I did look at this before we came on, and the Express. How reliable you want to take the Express? Say they're fearful he could be out for weeks, and I saw 12 weeks in one headline as well. But they think it could be quite a while. Let me see if there's anything else. He's definitely going to miss the next game. But yeah, if he's out for a little bit, where do their goals come from?
McTominay up front. Get Casemiro in. Stick Scott McTominay up front. could be like the Scotland masterclass.
Yeah, I mean, in reality, I mean, they got Sancho's just. I think he's gone missing.
I still probably put McTominay up front rather than Sancho.
I mean, I would. I mean, and Anthony for me, he reminds me of like a poor, really, really poor, like bankrupt man's Robin. But like, do you know, Ronaldo first came to United before he was good and he was trying stuff and not act. That's what he reminds me of. I mean, Sabitzer, and Martial. I don't know what they've got going on up front, apart from Wout Weghorst, which is one of my favorite names to say.
He's just so happy, isn't it, to be there? I feel sorry for him because obviously I really want him to do well, but I look at him and I think I can't dislike you because you're just so happy with life and just being at Manchester United.
I know. I mean, he's a man that's really fallen on his feet. Wasn't he at Burnley last season when they got relegated?
Yeah, he's on loan from Burnley.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just superb, isn't it? I mean, and Chris has said in the chat he's good that Eriksen's back, which is. I mean, that's and I think you need that experienced head, someone who isn't like Fernandez, somebody who isn't a dick. That can actually. I can't think of a better way of describing Fernandez as a person. Lisa thinks she's looking forward to the Sevilla game. Heather's saying they think that he's 50% chance of playing. Chris agrees. They've got sick note Martial, but Anthony has got a cracking left foot. And about Weghorst, at least he's won a trophy. Yes,
that is true.
I bet he's absolutely elated. And Chris wants me to stop picking on Bruno. If there's no ammunition there, I can't fire the gun, can I? I just can't help it. I can't help it. But which game shall we look at next? I'm gonna leave one of them till last. We never cover, just so you know, Kiva, we very rarely cover Man City because Man City win a football game. Who cares? I'm really not fussed. But an interesting game, which blew my mind. Leeds 1, Crystal Palace 5. Shah, how did that one make you feel?
the Roy Hodgson effect, isn't it? He's just come back. We all doubted him. He's come back and absolutely smashed Leeds. But I think Leeds went 1-0 up as well, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they went 1-0 up, and I thought, I had it on Flash Score. I didn't actually watch the game. I had it on Flash Score, and I thought, I think Leeds, because they play some quite attacking stuff, I thought, Leeds will win this quite easy. And then I didn't expect that, but I think Leeds could possibly go down me. I wasn't so sure. And just the way they can play some attacking football and things like that, I thought maybe they will get themselves out of it. But as the weeks go by and obviously games go less and less, I've just got a really funny feeling that they could possibly go down now. My thoughts now, they've completely changed. I still think it's going to be Southampton. I think Leicester and now Leeds as well. It'll probably change again next week, but I'm a bit of a free at the minute. But they're just not very good at all, have they? There's just nothing about them. And the defence is absolutely shocking.
No, and who was it? I heard on the radio this morning, I cannot remember who it was. Jesse Marsh was linked to one of the Premier League teams.
It was linked with Leicester.
Yeah,
Leicester.
I turned it down, didn't he?
Yeah. And Dean Smith's coming in as the interim manager until the end of the season, because Rafael Benitez talks with him broke down, talks with Jesse Marsh broke down, and now obviously Dean Smith, who was at Aston Villa just till the end of the season.
Well, let's be fair. You'd have to be mental to want to go to Leicester at the minute, surely to God. But I mean, who is Leeds' manager right now? Does anyone know? Because I can't remember.
Is it not Watford's old manager? No. Was it Watford's old manager?
Yeah, is it? I think it could. Yeah, I'm sure it could be,
I can't remember his name, though, and I probably can't.
That's how good he is. None of us know him.
Javi Garcia, according to a quick Google search, which is some good depth of knowledge and research. Yeah, Javi Garcia. They're in trouble. They're in a world of trouble. Yeah. I mean, and Man United fan Chris is loving how Leeds look at the moment. That's nice. And we do welcome back Roy. I love a little bit. We'll be a why. He wonderful why. And Leicester shocking. Heather thinks, yeah, they agree, and they are. I mean, my dad's a massive Leeds fan, and he's genuinely upset at the moment. Aww. And I don't really like thinking, he's a little bit worried. He's like upset, getting emotional upset when I talk to him about it, because I mean, for Leeds, they took so long. They were out the Premier League for so long. To take that journey to get up there and potentially just drop out of it at the last knock-ins, it's unnerving. And I mean, I think if we look at their last couple of fixtures, they've got Liverpool next.
Winnable. I'm joking.
Thanks. But then they've got Fulham. I think Fulham are going to do them. So they've got Liverpool. I
don't know, because Fulham
at
the minute are on the down since Mitrovic. Then again, will William be back for that one? Because was it a 3-match ban? I think William might possibly be back.
I think he's back because he's not. Yeah, he's not there for Everton next week, so I think it's the week after.
That's the only kind of saving grace for them, because since Mitrovic, William, and obviously the manager being sent off, they've gone a bit downhill, haven't they, Fulham?
Yeah.
But they're at home, which is a couple of weeks away. But then they've got Leicester, which that's a critical game. Bournemouth, another critical game. I'm sure Heather will agree with that in the chat. But then they've got Man City, Newcastle. I don't know where they're getting points from. In reality, I think they're really going to struggle. Apparently, Heather says William and the manager are both going to be back for that game. So, yeah, I'm unnerved. I'm generally unnerved. Lisa's got a lot of faith in Dean Smith. Did we say Dean Smith? He's going to Leicester, isn't he? That's fine. We'll pick up on that note. But I'm unnerved for Leeds. Very unnerved. Crystal Palace, do you think that is enough? I mean, Kiva, do you think that's enough now to sort of safely create a bit of a cushion for them now? Because they're 6 points clear of 18th spot?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think they were really in it anyway. I think it was just, we were hoping really for like a draw so it could like sort of rope them back into it. But no, obviously we needed Leeds to lose or a draw, really. I don't think Palace were really ever going to be in. They were in trouble, but they weren't in like Everton serious trouble. So they weren't that bad. But yeah, I think they were all right in the first half, Leeds, to be honest. And obviously with Bamford scoring first, they were all right. And then they just like, obviously with who was it that scored before half time for Palace? Was it?
Oh, who was it? This is going to annoy me now.
I know his name. I just can't pronounce it.
This is
and I
gonna
don't
annoy
know
me.
it.
Yeah. Mark Gui.
We'll call him
Go with
Mark.
that. But then once he scored at half time, they went off and they come back and battered him. Like I thought it was going to be about 8-1. So
Jordan Ayew scoring against you, that's always unnerving. But Eze, I like Eze and Edouard. They're good players, and
yeah,
I think they're pretty. I was never really concerned about Palace. You can look back, and you'll see I've been quite consistent. I was never concerned about Palace. Charlotte was. She thought they were going to be in trouble. I remember it vividly.
Because he brought back Roygo, that's why.
You think he's a difference maker?
Mr. Palace himself.
I know, bless him. I mean, how long is it? Just a contract till the end of the season, or is this
I
like
think so.
Yeah.
Dear God, I was going to say, because the man, just let him be. Let the man be, and let him live a little bit of a life that he's deserved. Bless his little heart. But that was lovely to see. And another result. Personally, I tell you what, actually, we'll look at Leicester's 0, Bournemouth 1. For Heather in the chat. For me, I mean, I spoke to Heather on Twitter quite frequently about this game. I think that this was quite a critical game, and I think this is, for me, this is the one that does Leicester.
Yeah.
Personally, I think because their running is probably one of the worst of the teams down. I think they got Man City, then Wolves, and then Leeds, but then Everton. You guys, Fulham, Liverpool, Newcastle, and West Ham. None of those games are nice. There's no nice games. The only people that are really going to be sort of feet up, kicking back is going to be Wolves and Fulham. Other than that, everybody's fighting for something. And that's not nice. And you know they're going to get thumped by Man City the next game. And they're going to absolutely thump them to pieces. So they're going to have no confidence going into a run against matches. They have to win against Wolves, Leeds, Everton. All the teams that are down there, it's not happening. It's not happening. I mean, what do you think? Do you think Leicester are done for? And
I think we're going to get relegated. I'm going with Leicester, Forest, and Leeds. Not Leeds, Southampton. Sorry. I think the ones with the looking at the games they've got coming up, I think they're the three really that are going to go down.
Yeah. I mean, we've got in the chat here. Gary Neal's doing an okay job, so you hope Bournemouth can say, I like Bournemouth. It's a proper dogfight. I think if they still got their little tiny stadium as well, Bournemouth.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think that's so sweet. They deserve it. But I mean, their games, I mean, they've got Tottenham, winnable.
Yeah.
I'll do that. But West Ham, Southampton, and Leeds, they're all games which they can get results out of, and they're important games if they do get results out of them. For me, they can be then clear before they play Chelsea, because then they go Chelsea, Palace, Bournemouth. I think if they can get results in West Ham, Southampton, Leeds, they're safe, isn't they? Okay, look at that, 11,000 people. That's so sweet. I think that's really lovely. I think that's just so desirable. But Charlotte, what did you think? You think they're safe, Bournemouth? Do you think that's done them or?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, and they've built on some confidence, got a couple of great results as well. So, yeah, I do really like Bournemouth, and I really want them to stay in the Premier League. I think they will, especially with the run of forms of we say the teams like Southampton. No, to be fair, I still think they will go down. They're fighting,
isn't they?
Yeah, now and again they'll pick a point up or have like a mad win. But I think Leicester and Leeds, I think they're two who will really struggle. And I just think right now they are the three, I would say, obviously down. I think the clubs themselves are obviously struggling. I don't think it's just like on the pitch. I think it's off the pitch as well since obviously that tragedy happened at Leicester with the chairman. I just think his son maybe hasn't got to grips with kind of running the club. Obviously, they've not really put money into it. They've sold some players, but they've not really put money into them kind of getting younger people through. It's like Jamie Vardy now. How old's Jamie Vardy? Obviously, you need to replace him. And I just
he's in his 40s, isn't he? Is he in his 40s, Jamie Vardy? He's not far off, is he?
But yeah, and obviously Leeds, I think there's a lot going on obviously with Leeds. Southampton had a great academy. They had obviously players coming through, but I don't think that's kind of happening the same as it was. Yeah. So I think they're the ones who will struggle. And I think Bournemouth, after the confidence of them couple of wins, hopefully they can gain on that as well. And yeah.
And Craig in the chat saying he hopes Bournemouth stays up more than anyone else. So to Southampton, Leicester, Leeds, West Ham, Everton, Craig doesn't like any of you. He prefers Bournemouth. I have to say, she thinks it should be safe. And James Maddison was a great assist for our goal. And that's what, if you remember, that's why I said the other week, and he's deactivated his Twitter. Awesome. I wouldn't take James Maddison if they went down at Liverpool because he's too flash in the pan and inconsistent for me. Just doesn't do it. Doesn't float my boat.
I feel like with Leicester at the minute as well, if James Maddison isn't playing or on form, then they've not really got anyone else. I think they kind of rely on him a bit too much.
Yeah.
They did just empty the team of everybody good and just didn't replenish it at any point, did they? You know, they're like a box of celebrations and all that's left is a bounty. You know, nobody wants. Nobody wants that. Speaking of things that nobody wants, is a Chelsea victory, and that didn't happen as it was Wolves 1, Chelsea 0. Now, to be honest, I didn't follow this game other than just to have a chuckle, so I thought that was quite funny. I mean, Cha, how did this game make you feel?
Really good, actually. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I think obviously people were getting frustrated with Graham Potter. I am a Graham Potter fan, as I mentioned, but they didn't really give him the time like they promised him. And then obviously they linked with all these top class managers, and then they end up bringing Lampard until the end of the season. So I just thought to myself, like, what's Lampard? This is no disrespect to Lampard as well, but
there's a
difference between player Lampard and manager Lampard. And just because you're a top player doesn't make you a top manager. And I just don't know what they expected Frank Lampard to do.
No, especially when, let's be fair, he's never been good as a manager. And this isn't his first rodeo, is it? This is like...
what's he done? Him.
Yeah.
For underperforming and starting to lose the confidence of the players. I don't think. I mean, and for all of our audio listeners, I'm not going to read this out potentially because it could be. Frank Lampard couldn't organise a drunken night out in a brewery, shall we say? I mean, and Chris is like he did okay with Derby, but did he? Because he had a whole load of players out on from loan from Chelsea, ironically, when he was at Derby, and they should have been performing better than they were, and he just failed. He failed to get them automatic promotion. He failed then in the playoffs. And then he went straight to Chelsea. What?
That's what gets me. I just feel like because they've been a top class player, people instantly think they're going to be a top class manager, and it's just not the same.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and Tim in the chat, welcome. Thank you for joining us. He thinks they should have stuck with Potter instead of went for Lamps, but Chelsea created the definition of managerial merry-go-round. This is true because he's back again. I bet he went in playing. Look who's back again. The place oh God! But I think they should have. Do you know what they didn't do, Shah? They didn't trust the process.
They didn't trust the process.
No,
they didn't.
They didn't. And Tim sent a special message specifically for you. This would Shai saying it's lovely to see you.
Hello, hope you're okay.
and it's exactly. I mean, Lampard, Gerrard, Parker. There's a lot of managers that automatically people think they're going to be good, and you need to have that. You need to have that time where you go out and manage somewhere. you know.
Yeah, and if you are going to go to a club and want to have the time, you do not go to Chelsea.
No.
I'm sorry, but that's one club. If you want to try and get better as a manager or like build a project up, Tottenham and Chelsea are not the ones.
No, you do what a big Dunk's done. I mean, Big Dunk's he's had a couple of since Everton. Where is he now, Kira?
Forest Green Rovers.
And he's doing bits down there, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean they lost again today, but he's won a game, so we're going to give him that.
Yeah, exactly, and I agree. I think It was, and to be honest with you, the whole reason of just talking about this game was just so we could all laugh at Chelsea. So, Kira, you haven't had what did you think, Kira? How did that game make you feel?
I don't know. How many times can a manager lose to Wolves in a season? Has that record been beaten yet? Or... But yeah, no, I did giggle. But I thought, how has he gone? Again, like what Shah said before, how has he gone from Chelsea to Everton to then saving us from relegation, which I'll always be grateful for, but to then getting us back in the same place, being sacked, and then going to Chelsea? He's turned up with his CV. God, this is what I've done. They've gone fab. How will we let him in again?
Yeah. Have you got referees from your last 2 jobs? Yeah. Well, these guys sacked me. In other words, actually, you sacked me.
It's just mad though, because you just think like, if you're going to do something like the Champions League, if it was like, oh, we're not doing well this season, we'll get someone in to try and like help us with the Champions League. But they've not. Frank Lampard won't. So why not just stick with Potter and just have an agreement with Potter and say, I'm sorry, it's not working out. You've got till the end of the season, then we're going to find someone else, because I just don't understand what Lampard could do this season.
Because it's not like they're going to get relegated or anything, is it? No. You know?
Exactly. Well, could they? Is it actually like doable?
I
might change my.
If everybody wins, it might be.
I mean, where are they? They're on 39
That'd be
points.
funny if that happened.
I mean, they only need one more point for the old proverbial 40 points, and they'll be fine. So I don't know. I don't get it. I mean, and Chris in the chat saying here that Real Madrid are going to Real Madrid probably will batter them. I think Real Madrid, but regardless who was the manager there, and apart from Mourinho, because Mourinho is just a defensive genius. Yeah, I think they're stuffed, and I don't get it. I don't get what they said. No, they should. Lisa in the chat thinks Tuchel should have stayed. That was weird. What happened there with Tuchel? I mean, don't get me wrong. I know he has a breakdown like every couple of years, but that was just
it down
weird.
To the Ronaldo thing? Didn't they want to sign Ronaldo, the owners, and Tuchel didn't want him, and it was too opinionated or something with it, Tuchel, so they sacked him. Or I think it was along that line.
It was definitely something like that. I remember.
A manager wanted to make a decision on a signing for his own team, and so it's weird, and it's weird, and you know. But Chris in the chat, Todd Bowley's clueless. I think he's like he's just excited to be there, isn't he?
That's what I don't get though, because I don't even think these players were Graham Potter signings. So this owner has just gone out, signed everyone that he thought was decent, or like he had something about him, or he's watched him in like the World Cup or something, and they've signed them. But how is Graham Potter, who was at Brighton, going to get all these big names that the owner signed? Like, how's he going to get them all playing? They're not his signings.
Yeah, exactly. It's a real strange one. And Chris is saying, "Oh, I got the wrong comment up there." He said, "Bowley, take advice off James Corden." I did see that. I read that in the paper.
God's sake!
But isn't James Corden a West Ham fan? I'm sure he is. Yeah. I was thinking, I thought, why are you taking advice of him?
Go on, James Corden. He set him up.
I think it's brilliant. I know. I bet he was writing his script for Garrett and Stacey and thought, this would be something really funny. I'll give this a go now. And just have a word. Mental. Absolutely crazy. But I love it. And head in the chat, do we see that guy compare O'Neill to Mourinho? I haven't. And it depends what O'Neill, Martin O'Neill or Gary O'Neill. And Chris is here. Chris is giving you good news when he thinks of Rochdale. We will touch on Rochdale later on. Don't you worry, Tim. And he also says Chelsea sacked Potter soon as they avoided paying his compensation. Well, they would have had to pay him some form of compensation, wouldn't they? Because I think even before his extra 3 years, he signed a 5-year contract and a 3-year extension less than 6 months into his job when he was doing such a sterling effort. And, weird. It is very, very strange, but we all enjoy a good laugh at Chelsea. We do. And, you know, let's hope they get to that lucky 40-point mark and then they can be safe from relegation.
Didn't even play Mason Mount, though. Damn. I thought his love child were going to come back. So I could I love Mason Mount. No one else does on the pod, but I do.
No, I read an article and they said he's not one of his favourites. Did he even get on? He wasn't even on the bench. I'm just looking at the lineup. I don't think Mount was even
injured,
on the
though.
bench.
Is he not injured?
I don't know.
Maybe why.
I would have thought Chardno though.
I'm not that much of a stalker.
Well, there we are. That is a hot take. We'll clip that one.
No, because he might actually get a restraining order out or block me on Twitter.
At some point. Gary O'Neill, Stephen Warnock, but Gary O'Neill. Yeah, Gary O'Neill and Mourinho. That's not quite the same thing. And Chris in the chat, Cucurella, the worst left back ever. I think Chelsea, they're just poison. They're a poison chalice at the moment. But I mean, that takes us on to our last Premier League game because time is flying. I'm having a hoot. But the last game I thought we would cover over because it was quite controversial and lead us to another conversation was Tottenham 2, Brighton 1. I mean, Shah, how did that game make you feel?
It was a bit unexpected for me because I thought Brighton would win that. I did it on my Super 6 as well. It was part of my Super 6, and I think I had Brighton to win like 3-1. I was very like, that's probably why they lost. Honestly, that's probably why they lost. But I was quite confident with Brighton. But as we've said, I was really confident in Brighton. So what?
That is tremendous.
But as we've said, like on basically every single pod episode, they're just so weird, Tottenham, aren't they? So inconsistent. Son and Kane as well. Where have they been for the rest of it? Well, not really Kane. I feel a bit bad saying it with Kane, but with Son, like, what's he done really throughout the season? But they turned up to that game. Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one, but it doesn't surprise me because that's what Spurs are like, aren't they? One game they'll turn up, the next game they won't.
Yeah.
I mean, and Kira, how did that game make you feel? It was a bizarre one, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was strange. I was the same as Shah. I thought Brighton were going to win. Easy.
3-1.
I was going 3-2. I was telling everyone 3-2. So
yes.
You got the 2 right. You got the 2 right. I mean, I got to be honest. I would have preferred Brighton to win because I'd like them to do bits in the league. I like them to get into a guaranteed European spot. Yeah. I don't want them to be where they have to go to playoffs. It'd be really nice to see them in a guaranteed spot. But I mean, the big talking point was the referee's apology after the game for cocking up. I believe I haven't got the statement in front of me, but it was along the lines of, yes, Brighton probably should have had a penalty. I believe, is that correct, or was it they shouldn't have had? But the thing that gets me is it's not just that a penalty was missed. That you've got VAR. So you've got a room of other guys checking this stuff out. I mean, and Chris saying in the chat they should have had 2 pens at Brighton, and that was sort of a bit of a conversation piece I wanted to have. Is the officiating this season? It's not very good, is it? In reality, I mean, what do you think? I mean, Kira, if you start with your end, what do you there's lots of decisions like that. How have you felt the officiation has been, especially sort of like with your team, for example, this season?
Yeah, well, nothing ever goes our way, does it? So it's not really much of a shock, the officiating. But in that game, especially the Brighton one, I thought, well, you've robbed them of winning the game. If they had 2 penalties and scored, and they've got 3 points, easy. So why? An apology's not enough. You can't come out and apologise for making mistakes that have cost them the game. It's stupid. Like, I reckon they should replay the game. That's what I think they should do. If you have to come out and apologise for what you've done, you should replay the game. I think that's simple.
And it's just been the lack of it's like bad mistakes and then lack of consistency. Further, I mean, I think we spoke about whatever week it was with Mitrovic being suspended for 8 games. I mean, we had a heated discussion in the Discord chat over this one, because I made the comparison, which Sam didn't like, but between Fernandes and Mitrovic. For me, in essence, they did the same thing. They both put hands on, not like they didn't swing for the official or anything, but they just little love shove on the shoulder. But one got 8 game suspension and one got none. And I think where is the consistency? How can players sort of work to a standard if they don't know what's going on? I mean, I've seen Sean Dyche comments last week. I think it was, he was saying about the officiating not knowing what the hell is going on. and it's really not good. And I mean, I think for officiating, for instances like the one in the Brighton game, I tell you what I was thinking, rather than replay the game, I think the other team should get awarded a point.
Yeah.
That's what, because I don't think you can justify giving them 3 points to say they win, because you don't know, and you can't take points off the team that won. But I don't see why they just give them a point. If they're coming to point, if it's a glaring error like that, as something that's happened, I think we should do. I'm not sure. Does this ring any bells for anyone? Chris in the chat, Kane's eyelash. He loves Dyche's comments. Did anyone see that?
Yeah, it's my favourite comment ever.
What was that? Educate me. I missed that. What did he say?
So it was about obviously Doucouré's red card at the home game against Tottenham. The way Harry Kane fell down was like he'd lost his eye. It was horrific. He literally, Doucouré probably just like blew him over. It wasn't, obviously should have been sent off for what he did. That is a red card, obviously. But the dramatics of it, and there is a picture, and I love it, and I'm going to make him a profile picture, I'm happy with it. It's Sean Dyche screaming at Harry Kane while he's on the floor rolling around. It's so funny. But yeah, in his press conference after he went, well, he's probably snapped an eyelash, hasn't he? But I think he'll recover.
Love it.
He's a hero. I mean, and Heather's bringing that, and this sort of ties in the point I was making. So Heather's saying it's the language that Mitrovic used towards the ref. But if you watch every single game, every week, the way all of the players from every team approach and speak to the referee, I think is completely unacceptable. It doesn't happen in rugby, for example, because there's clear discipline that is set out. And I think if you started having referees second yellow card in, for approaching them and talking to them that way, I think they should do that. I think as soon as you put your hand on a referee, you should be sent off, and there should be a form of ban. But I think something needs to be done to get that level of consistency, because you can't have Mitrovic where he shouted at the referee. Okay, well, what about 20 years of Premier League where John Terry was probably the most abusive, rude, obnoxious person to a referee that you've ever seen in your life? And Man United historically in the Fergie days would just it was their mate, like they were sort of doing some sort of like geeing up the referee. They'd all encircle him, and everybody does it. I mean, I know Klopp's not a good one for it either, the force official. So I think they need to get a consistency where if you verbally abuse them, it should be a yellow card straight away. And if you touch them, there needs to be some sort of ban straight away. And as Chris said, maybe mic up the refs, which I don't think they can do because of the language of the footballers.
They're actually they're supposed to be trialing it for the Premier League and the Women's World Cup in the summer. So I think that's what's going on, and then they're going to try and bring it in next season.
Yeah, I think it'd be good.
I don't know if that's confirmed yet, but
if you've said it, I'm taking that as gold. So we'll tweet that out later. Kira has told us that's what's happening. But the thing, but then likewise, and Craig nicely leads me on to the next point. Then the rules, they need to be consistent across the board. Robertson, when Robertson got elbowed in the face, I mean, regardless, I mean, whether he touched him first, I don't know. I don't know whether he grabbed the arm of the guy first. I haven't seen. I've seen like 84 camera angles, and I think it's quite inconclusive. But regardless, if he touched him and elbowed him in the face, I don't think that's acceptable. And I think also there should be some sort of suspension. I think it should be reciprocal, and that's how we sort of rectify it. I mean, what do you think, Shah? What are your thoughts?
It's a weird one, because obviously when I first saw it, I was like, oh my God, what's he just done, the linesman? But then the more I read about it, and then it's like, he's put his hand on him, and then he's just gone and turned and stuff like that. I don't know what's actually happened. It looks bad. Yeah. It looks really bad. But I think to myself, if that was me and someone touched me as instinct, I'd like turn around like that. So it's a real weird one, because I'm not him. It looks bad, but I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to think. Like you said, put yourself in that circumstance. Someone grabs you by the arm to turn you around. My knee-jerk reaction isn't to go.
That's not mine, but like go like that. And
that's because you're northern, though. I live in Wales. We're really nice down here.
That is true. I'm just like a hooligan.
There's good chance, though. I've found my experience up north. If someone grabs you because they want like your wallet or something. not besmirching all of the north of England, just my personal experience
Yeah.
of being mugged numerous amount of times in a short period of time up in the north.
I think
But yeah,
whoever commits something though should get punished. Like even that, like no matter what, it's still like an elbow and things like that. So if you're gonna do it to a player and ban them, you need to do it to everyone, kind of thing. It can't just be one rule for one rule for another.
No, I totally agree. I mean, before we move on, I mean, Q, did you have anything else you wanted to add on?
I don't think it could have happened to a nicer bloke, to be honest. I was really
I wanted to say that as well. He's got one of the faces.
I was so happy. I was like, well done, thank you. But yeah, I don't think he deserves a ban at all. I think he should be like knighted. But no, I completely agree with what I said. It should be an equal ban for both. I think.
I think we need to have. They need a consistency.
That's really made me laugh. It's made my day, that.
It's just so mean. And yeah, and Chris saying in the chat, Viking called Robertson
that
a
was
baby.
funny. That was
It
crazy,
was.
to be fair.
I think he should concentrate more on his defending.
That was funny.
Because Viking never shouted at an official. You know, he never raised his hands to anyone. He never tried to deliberately break anyone's leg. He was just, he's an angel that was always 100% focused on his on-pitch performance, really, Viking. But it's an issue. And I think what's sad is this is like the Premier League. We're meant to be creme de, in the words of Del Boy, creme de menthe for football. And the officiating, it ain't, is it? It is.
I think what's more frustrating as well is the fact that they spent all this money on VAR. Like, I kind of get it at our level because we've not got VAR, and don't get me wrong, like a decision went Rochdale's way at the weekend where the ball didn't go over the line, but we got a goal for it. So fair enough. But we've not got VAR to look at that and the money to kind of do that. So as much as it can work in your way, it might not work in your way. We've not got all that money. So the decisions, whether it's right or wrong, obviously it can be quite controversial. But what frustrates me with the Premier League is they've spent all this money on VAR and they still don't get it right. Like, there's cameras there, there's referees, like, and there's professionals from like refereeing making all these decisions, and the decisions still aren't right. So why waste all this money and ruin the game if it's still going to be like this?
Oh, I totally agree. I mean, and Kiva, for those of you that don't know, Kiva is a Women's Super League, the WSL expert. She's famous. She's YouTube famous for her knowledge on the WSL. Do they have VAR in the WSL? I don't think they do, do they?
No, we don't. We have goal line technology. I think that's about as advanced as we get. But no, we don't have VAR. Thank God.
Do you think the game's worse for it, or?
No, I think it's better. I think it's better. Loads better than not having it. It's obviously like there's some situations where you think, well, she wasn't offside, so why have you give it? And then you can't go back and check. But yeah, VAR. I love it not having it in the WSL. It's like a breath of fresh air from going watching it, being frustrated with it in the Premier League, and then not having it in the WSL. It's so much better.
Yeah, because I quite like that. It's raw, isn't it? I mean, if something, if you don't get it, you don't get it, and if it's not there, it's not there. And
that's what I love about lower league as well. Like, don't get me wrong, there's been some decisions what's not worked in our favour, but then it's like, right, it's done now. You don't really see it again, just like on the highlight show or on Twitter. But then you've got obviously the Premier League where the decision, everyone can see clearly the decision, but then they give it a different way. Yeah. That's what really angers me.
Yeah, that's the annoyance. Is you're like, I've seen it. I could see what's happened.
Everyone's seen it.
And then they're like, nah, we're not gonna do that. Or like,
it's as if they do it to just annoy you, and it's on purpose, just to like have something to talk about. It's as if it's deliberately done, so then we've all got something to talk about, and it's controversial, so everyone talks about it.
Yeah, it's just it is one, and like, cause some stuff they'd be like, oh, the ref's seen it. So yeah, but it's wrong. So
I know.
that's just mental. I mean, Chris in the chat said United women should have had 2 penalties versus Arsenal.
Yeah.
But did they win or lose?
Can't remember. Do you know when you watch them all and then you're like, yeah, I know the results, and then you're like, no.
Yeah, and I'm putting Kiva on the spot, so I do apologise. It's not that she doesn't know stuff.
Okay.
It's just
I'm
because I've
not
just
going
gone. But yeah, so in conclusion, then, I think we all agree the officiating sucks. Sort your lives out, get rid of VAR, or use it properly. One or the other. Yellow card players for abusing refs. If you touch someone, just be suspended for 2 games. I think that's not 8. Surely to God, because that's it's just all too much. And here we've got Straight Edge in the chat. He's straight in. He's missed the Lampard abuse.
Oh no.
You did. We've already laughed at Chelsea and losing.
We can do it again quickly for him.
I mean, I think Kira had the best one for me when Lampard rocked up with his CV. Good, look, I got sacked from here. You sacked me here. Then I nearly got these guys relegated, so they sacked me. And then, yeah, I'm your man. Sorry, Jai. You know I love you. Straight Edge. I do love him deeply. He's a very good friend of mine. Thanks for that. Thanks for dropping him. But you're in time. You're in time for one of the most underprepared international football sections that we've ever done. Normally, of course, I rely on my trusty steed, Mr. After the FM Ducks, young Sam's my trusty steed that normally guides me through through the international league. So apologies in advance because I am going to cock this all up quite significantly. But we're going to start off in La Liga, where there were lots of red cards again. Last week there was a flourish of red cards. Again, there's a red card. Sevilla had a red card against Celta Vigo. Espanyol had a red card. Real Betis had a red card. Rayo Vallecano had a red card. Red cards all round for everybody. It was absolutely lovely. But we will start with Sevilla, the old people's retirement village of Sevilla. They drew 2-2 with Celta Vigo. This is the red card in this game, though. If I'm reading this right, there wasn't 2 red cards. Was it 19th minute? There was a red card. Love it. But they drew 2-2. And as you can see over on the table, how are they doing at the moment? They're not doing too badly, I think. Where are they, Sevilla? Sevilla 13th now. The form isn't very good, but they are out of the relegation zone, out of for the old men of Sevilla. There was no names that scored there, though, apart from Marcus Acuna. If anybody plays Football Manager, you know who Marcus Acuna is. He's a defensive midfielder. He's about 55, I would wager, at this point in his career, which is wonderful. The other red card was Espanyol losing 1-0. My favourite sort of red card, Alex Vidal, the most mental man in football, along with Alex Witsel, sent off in the 91st minute. I could never understand why you wait till extra time and then get yourself sent off. It's superb. That's one of my favourite things. But the Williams boys scoring, Inkai Williams and Nico Williams at Athletic Club, just to make everything not Welsh. You would have thought they'd be Welsh. They're not Welsh, the Williams brothers. And they're not brothers either. It was just to make everything easy for the shirt men. And as Straight Edge says in the chat, he's got Valencia. Valencia, they're doing dreadful. It's quite sad. I think Valencia, they've been in trouble all season. And I think generally they could be going down. They lost 2-1 to Almeria. I don't even know where Almeria is, other than it is in Spain. And yeah, they're not doing well, mate. It's not going very well for Sevilla. But if we look at the big ones, Barcelona are playing today. They're probably playing now. If I hit refresh, I would. Oh no, hang on, because they're an hour ahead. If I hit refresh, I wonder if they're playing now. They are playing now. It is 0-0. And actually, Lisa said in the chat earlier it was 0-0. So who knows what's going to happen there? But Real Madrid, big game of the weekend, lost 3-2 at home to Villarreal. And they even relied on an own goal to get one of the goals. Vinicius Jr. scoring, of course, but they lost 3-2. Devastating. But let's be fair, Barcelona have already run away with the league there. Real Madrid is saving all of their good form for the Champions League. For you guys at Chelsea, they're saving that special for you. They're going to give you an absolute hiding. And in the chat, Chris is asking, did Elche lose? For those of you that watch the pod or listen frequently, Elche, they're my local Spanish team. So I do have a home in the south of Spain. Elche are my closest team. Let's have a look. How did Elche do? Because I'm wildly underprepared, and I don't know. Elche, they lost. They lost again. They are rock bottom of the league. They lost 2-1 to Osasuna. This is very sad. I think they're going down. The only benefit will be is that they'll be knocked down to the lower league. Their ticket prices will come down, and I'll be able to afford to go and watch a game. So not that I'm wishing defeat on them, but yeah, Elche not looking very good. Espanyol not very good, and Valencia. It's all not as tight as our Premier League, but you can only say as high as 15th. But in fairness, I think Getafe and Almeria will probably be too good to go down. So it's very sad that Elche are going to be down. But moving on to a league which has been a bit more, well, even more predictable at the top is the Syria. And in Syria, this weekend, there were no red cards. So they're not following form with La Liga. And Napoli again. Guess what Napoli did this week, Shah? They won a game. They won a game 2-1. Special K didn't score, though, this week, but they won 2-1 against Lecce. Pronounce it however you like. There's an L, E, and 2 C's. I don't know how that's pronounced, but they were. I mean, let's be fair. They steamrolling it. Chris is saying they miss Osherman. You wouldn't have thought so, because though, based on the results, I mean, they've only lost 2 games in the last 6 still, though. They are just bossing it, absolutely bossing it. And I haven't taken a look at any of these results, so let's take a look at how the rest of the teams have done. In the 1-1 with the team whose name I cannot say, Solvinana. Inter drew 1-1 against another team in the league. Milan drew 0-0 as well. And then with us, Juventus lost to 1 to Lazio. And Jose Mourinho, there he is. He won 1-0 against Torino. Roma now up in third. I think Mourinho's done an underrated job at Roma so far. They've not got a fabulous squad they didn't start off with. Incidentally, Kiva, feel free to interject at any point if you know anything about
No, I don't. I'm not even going to attempt.
It'll be more than what any of us know, because the experts aren't here this week. But I think he's done an underrated job at Roma. I mean, he's won that Conference League the other season. He's not done too bad in Europe this year. But they're sitting in third at the moment, a point ahead of AC Milan, 2 ahead of Inter, and I would say a comfortable 5 ahead of Atalanta. I would love to see them in the Champions League. I'd love to see Jose back in the Champions League. I love the fact that Tammy Abraham's there, and the former Chelsea centre-back, whose name escapes me entirely. Does anyone know his name? Tamori. I like the fact that they're out there. He's got to perform in well. I think that's just a thing of beauty.
Is Chris Smalling still there or not? Or have I got the total wrong team?
No, you may. I'm going to take a look at the lineup from this weekend.
I've got something.
He is. He's there. I tell you what else.
After I said it, I thought, oh no.
Is it? I mean, Tammy didn't play this weekend. He did. That's a lie. I tell you, you'll love this. So these are the players that he brought on. So he had Tammy Abraham come on off the bench. Niamanda Matic. Matic came. Yes, he did.
No way.
And he joined the midfield, which consisted of Giorgio Wijnaldum, who's in midfield for Roma. And Chris Smalling, he's putting the band back together over at Roma. It's absolutely superb what's going on here. But yeah, he's won 1-0, and they've been very real contention of staying in the chat, of getting a Champions League spot, which I think that would be lovely. That would be superb. But we shall go over now to the Bundesliga. And I mean, Bayern Munich have spoiled this league. For us, if you were here a couple of months ago, Kiva, it was very exciting. Union Berlin were steamrolling at the top of the league. Freiburg was second. It was one of the most exciting leagues that we've seen in ages. And then Munich just spoilt it all for everybody and started winning games all over again and smashing everybody. And this week they did the same thing. They beat Freiburg, who were challenging in second place, who were down to 5th. But they beat them 1-0, very boring 1-0 win. They've just not got the pizzazz of Nagelsmann anymore. With their former Chelsea manager, Thomas Tuchel, who's apparently a good manager, and big teams want him, but not quite enough for not quite enough for Chelsea. But somebody who didn't play, who I'm not sure if he's out injured at the moment, is Eric Choupo-Moting, who was banging the goals in the Bayern Munich at one stage, where he didn't play. They had actually Serge Gnabry up front, a former Arsenal player, Thomas Muller, the oldest midfielder, I think, in Europe. He's looked really old. I'm not sure if you see pictures of Thomas Muller. He's looked like he's about 60 for about 10 years, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think it's just
That's just reminded me of my comment last week. I won't repeat it.
I know. I know. And if you want to know how Charlotte abused me last week, check it out. It's on YouTube. It's still, the video is on YouTube. I think there's also a YouTube short, possibly a TikTok, because Sam found it very funny. But so Munich is still at the top. They're 2 points clear of Borussia Dortmund, who beat Union Berlin 2-1 this week. Union Berlin's dream of winning the Bundesliga, I think, is gone for a Burton. That is done now. I mean, they're only 7 points behind, but they've got such a skinny squad and they're so poor. All we can hope is that they stay in the top positions, hopefully to get a Champions League spot, because the financial impact that would make would be absolutely fantastic for Union Berlin. And obviously Dortmund winning a game. Dortmund and Bayern Munich are sort of maintaining the status quo, but Leipzig won 1-0, which nobody cares about, because the big game, the result that everybody wants to know, how is your friend and mine, Xavi Alonso, the most attractive midfielder in the world, how is he doing at Bayer Leverkusen? He won again! Xavi Alonso won again, 3-1 against Eintracht Frankfurt. Bear in mind, Leverkusen are in 6th position now on 43 points. Only 5 points, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points of 4th position, because my math's that reliable. When he came in, they were in the relegation zone. Dreadful form. They couldn't win a game for Toffee, and he's got them up into a European spot over the last sort of 15, 16 games. Absolutely fantastic. And I think somebody said to me last week, would you rather him over Steven Gerrard managing Liverpool? And I don't want to besmirch Gerrard, because one day I hope to bear his child. But at this stage, quite possibly. And Chris is saying he could get Champions League. He could. He's 5 points off. He's 5 points away from getting that Champions League point. And Leipzig is sort of up and down. And let's be fair, Freiburg and Union Berlin, nobody expected them to be in those positions at the start of the season. And they seem to be sort of struggling a little bit now to the tail end. So potentially he could do. And I'd love it. Oh my God, I'd be so elated if Xavi did that. So Xavi, I love you. You keep fighting a good fight, my friend. And over to the league, which generally nobody cares about. Nobody cares about Ligue 1, because PSG, you spoiled everything for everybody. But what we've done, they don't exist anymore in our Ligue 1. I have stripped them off the table. So if you take a look at the table, we have Lens. Lens are at the top on 63 points. And on 61 is Marseille. Monaco, 58. Very tight at the top there in Ligue 1. And some of my favorite team names, Angers won a game 1-0 this weekend, and nice loss to the team that we're not going to talk about those scores, but Clermont Foot they were 2-0. Brest, they won 1. They drew 1-1, and Nantes or Nantes drew 2-2. League, some of my favorite team names, especially if you can't pronounce the team names. The League is the league for you. But very exciting there at the top with Lens. How did Lens do this weekend? Lens, I can't find them. They won 2-1 against Strasbourg. So they're forging ahead and with that good form to win Ligue 1, because PSG no longer exist. But that takes over to the Sky Bet Championship. Now, Charlotte's defense, if you've been aware, in the lower league, there's been about 800 games being played today and yesterday and Saturday. So she may not be as comprehensive and proficient as we generally come to expect from somebody of Charlotte's quality and vast ability. But also, there's a game going on, I think, now. Is there still a game?
Yeah, it was half-time. It was 0-0 at half-time, but Sheffield United did have a man sent off. I checked that. I just checked that now, so I was a little bit more prepared.
Because I couldn't. The game, Middlesbrough was the game I wasn't up to speed with. But Charlotte, take it away.
Yes, so top of the Championship and newly promoted to the Premier League, we have got Burnley at the top. I'm really happy to see Burnley back, to be fair. I liked Burnley when obviously Sean Dyche was there, and Vincent Kompany. It's his first season for him, and he's just playing some really good stuff.
Is he leaving, Shah? Do you think he's going to go?
No.
He's linked with everyone. Have you seen Vincent Kompany?
Yeah, no, I think I think he's going to stay with Burnley. I think it's kind of trust the process kind of thing. I think he's going to. I actually think next season he could have quite a good season with Burnley as well. I know it's obviously a big ask because they're newly promoted, but I do think he will have quite a good season with Burnley. But they're obviously playing now against Sheffield United. It is 0-0. But to get them promoted, they actually beat Middlesbrough, Michael Carrick's men, on Friday 2-1. And I think it was really good as well because obviously it's shown class from Michael Carrick after they got promoted, went in, shook every player's hand, all the staff, and congratulated them. So I do like the Carrick and company kind of managerial because it's like 2 class players, 2 class people.
Sounds nice.
And he's doing well in obviously football, yeah.
Carrick and Company.
Underrated players as well. They don't get the credit they deserve, Carrick and company as well. They're really underrated players.
They need to manage a team together, don't they?
They do. They're just too yeah. I like them.
Carrick and Company.
I know. And then in the playoffs, we have got Luton in third on 71 points. They beat Blackpool 3-1. Blackpool are struggling at the bottom, unfortunately, but we'll get down to them in the relegation bit. Fourth, we've got Middlesbrough on 68 points. They actually played at 5:30 tea time today against Bristol City, and they drew 2-2. We've got Millwall in 5th place on 62 points. They actually lost 1-0 to Hull. And 6th place, still no change there. Blackburn on 62 points. And they drew 2-2 against Huddersfield. And Huddersfield have actually made a little bit of a great escape. Since obviously I think it's Neil Warnock who's come back.
Woo!
Yeah, Neil Warnock's come back. He's got them out of a relegation zone. And they're actually 19th now in the table. So it's a bit different from last week, isn't it?
What a hero.
A lot different. What 2 games can make.
We keep predicting on this pod. We keep predicting all the comeback kings, and they're doing it. They're doing bits.
We brought Hodgson back. We brought Warnock back.
Dicey. I mean, we link Dicey with every job.
I know. And then, unfortunately, in the relegation, we've got a newbie in the relegation zone. We have got Reading, who sit 22nd in the table on 41 points. They lost away to Preston 2-1.
I've got facts about Preston. Tom Cannon scored his 6th goal in 6 games for them. Just because he's an Everton loanee, I've just got to give him a little shout out.
Oh, I love it.
So,
I love that. Love that. We've got Blackpool as well, who were 23rd on 35 points. They lost away 3-1 to Luton, who I mentioned before, but they actually sacked Mick McCarthy, their manager.
Mick McCarthy.
I know, the Mick McCarthy, ex-Wolves Mick McCarthy.
You mean the Mick McCarthy who used to like fight with wolves and stuff on holiday?
Who we're linking him with now to come back?
I don't want him to. I think he needs to stay at home. He does, Mick McCarthy.
I know. And then bottom of the league, unfortunately, no change, is Wigan on 34 points. They lost 2-0 at home to Swansea.
And we just are catching up with everyone in the chat. There's a hello from Grimmy. Hello. Grimmy. And Heather was saying, come on, do it for the tin pot team.
Honestly, I love stuff like this. It's like, obviously, because I'm a Rochdale fan. And I've mentioned several times as well about going to Luton's ground. And you actually have to walk through not people's actual back gardens, but they have like a shared... Do you know where you've got like everyone's gardens and then there's like somewhere where you can take like your bins through and stuff? Like a walkway. And I remember walking through there. Me and my dad went to obviously Luton away. And it was last away game of the season. So we always have this tradition, like Rochdale fans, like many fans, last game of the season away, you always dress up. You can dress up as anything you want. So,
you dress up with people's clothes off there.
Yeah, well, but me and my best friend Tor, she's a Her Game 2 advocate as well in my Rochdale team. We went in retro like Rochdale shirts from years ago. We had like neon and the bright 80s colours like leg warmers, pumps, tutus kind of thing. And we weren't together at the time. She obviously came with her uncle. I went with my dad. So we'd split up and we'd been obviously dressed up. My dad was just in normal like Rochdale shirt, jeans. I'm walking through this alley and there's all people's washing hanging out, these people sunbathing, there's like people having a barbecue, having a tea, and it's like, oh my gosh.
Imagine
So,
if it's a bit windy, you get old woman's knickers slapping
yeah,
your face.
it's flying at you.
Oh!
Yeah, you got someone going taking the bin out, like, hi. Yeah, it's honestly, it's so fun, but I obviously love that kind of thing as well, like being a lower league fan. And obviously that was League Two. It was many years ago, but that was League Two. They were in when playing that, and just to see these clubs rise and rise, it's so nice to see.
Yeah,
I mean, wish it was us.
and I bring that with Sha. I wasn't referring to Bournemouth as a Tin Pot team earlier. By the way, when I said about your lovely, cute stadium, I just said it's really nice that you're competing without the resources of the big teams. Saying Paul Ince might be. Who's Paul Ince manager of? Because I've missed that one entirely.
Oh, who's he managing? Is it?
I don't know. Who does Paul Ince? I'll see if I can do a quick Google.
I should know this as well.
Ince. He is at, drumroll please, because I can't, Reading. He's reading.
Yeah.
He's doing some reading. Chris was there. Chris beat me to it. Yeah, so he's doing it. I'm Grimmy. Everybody knows. Everybody knows before me. Because I know nothing. Grimmy's saying as long as Millwall don't get promoted, that is true. I don't think.
Imagine if Millwall got promoted, but then West Ham went down.
They should have a rule that that's not allowed to happen, because that'd be superb. And as we go through, Craig is saying, who doesn't beat your Hartlepool fans dressing up as the Smurfs?
I love that.
I'd make a really good Papa Smurf, I think, because I'm very wise. Although if I got my movies out and painted them blue, it'd terrify the kids. And Lisa saying, you're so sweet. That's nice.
Thank
Isn't that
you.
nice? And apparently it's 1-0 Burnley at the moment. Craig is updating us. Burnley doing it in style against, is it Sheffield United? You did tell us a couple of minutes ago.
Yeah, it's Sheffield United. First and second. Top
superb.
of the table clash.
Superb. And then taking us on to League One.
Yes, in League One, we have got Sheffield Wednesday at the top. It keeps changing, obviously. Plymouth and Sheffield Wednesday, like week by week, they keep overtaking each other, but they're at the top and 84 points after their 3-0 win against Accrington. And then second, obviously, sits Plymouth. They have got a game in hand, though, because they were in the Papa John's Trophy final. Unfortunately, they did lose to Bolton. But, yeah, they've gone on a bit of a bad run, Plymouth. They've lost 2-0 at home today against Lincoln. So a little bit of a blip for them, but hopefully with the game in hand, they can gain some points back. Third place, we've obviously got no change there, Ipswich. They've seemed to have been there for quite a while now, Ipswich. They are catching up, though. 82 points. They actually only drew, though. 1-1 today at Cheltenham.
And again, I just want to reference, there's been a lot of games to this table that's marginally out of date. Just to let everybody
I'm reading
know.
it off my for today.
Yeah, everybody's going, oh my God, what's Josh done? That man's a buffoon. No, it takes me time to create these. I did it this afternoon when I was supposed to be watching wrestling with my son.
And then in fourth place, we have got Barnsley on 78 points. They won 2-1 at home to Shrewsbury, and both teams had a man sent off. Don't know what for, but hopefully it was something interesting. Probably is with lower league.
I was going to say, it's not going to be touching the arm of the assistant or something.
It's probably having a big fight with one another in lower league. You just go for it. And obviously the last playoff spot in sixth place, we do have Bolton on 68 points, and they drew 1-1 at home to strugglers Cambridge. Relegation, we've got the same teams, but a little bit of a swap around. 21st spot, we have got Accrington on 38 points, who I mentioned lost 3-0 at Sheffield Wednesday. 22nd, we've got Cambridge on 37 points. They drew to Bolton. Morecambe then in 23rd on 35 points, a 0-0 draw away at Portsmouth, which was quite a good result for them because Portsmouth have been in quite good form. And 24th, unfortunately, they've had no points over the weekend. Obviously, 2 games, but we have got Forest Green at the bottom on 26 points, and they did lose away 2-0 at Wickham. I feel so sorry for them.
And we're going to go just catching up with the chat here. Tim has said Tim follows Oxford. They're getting a bit better, but he's relying on Accrington Stanley and Cambridge to drop points. Which, look at that, in their form, Cambridge. I'm not sure which way this form table works. If it's left to right or right to left. Doesn't look too bad. There's greens on there. So either they won a couple of games, they've got on a real stinker, or they've come off the back of a real stinker and are doing okay. I'm not totally sure. Chris really wants Barnsley to get promoted. I don't understand why. Maybe they've got a nice badge. I quite like it. Tim's comparing Shark to Chris Kamara, who doesn't know who the sending off was.
Do you know what? I've been compared to Chris Kamara before, and that's because I'm usually away with the fairies like him. So that one has actually been used before.
And as a complete sidebar, Chris Kamara, he did the Masked Singer, didn't he? And that is something, if you check back in our Light Bites, me and Shah did a singing episode in one of the Light Bites. We did. It's a beautiful singing, and Shah can probably do the Masked Singer, although I think your accent might give you away really quickly.
I know. I actually sing like a talk, so when I'm singing, it's just my normal accent.
And Grimmy said he wants to get MK Dons relegated. I don't know why I've got a sweet spot for MK Dons. I think it's because I do a lot of events at this stadium and they've got really nice eateries around it, and I just like food. That's the only thing I can think. Elisa wants a Scunny to go down as well, and Tim is telling me it goes left to right, so I'm assuming right is the most recent one. So yeah, Accrington Stanley, no, Cambridge might be starting to do bits potentially in a bit, but to the league that we all love, we've all developed a soft spot for, League Two. What's going on, Shah?
Yes, League Two. So we have got no change at the top. Obviously, Leyton Orient, they've been top for quite a good few months now. I think since we've been doing a pod, they've basically been top, haven't they? On 81 points, they drew. I'm fuming about this though, because really, we needed them to win. They drew 2-2 against Harrogate. So Harrogate, I know it's so annoying. Harrogate did get a point. So I'm absolutely fuming. Absolutely fuming.
Absolutely.
I know. Second place, we've got Northampton on 73 points. They beat Gillingham 2-1. Third place, we've got a new bit. We have actually got Stockport on 70 points. They beat Newport 4-0 at home. So it is very, very close at the top. Very close, but Stockport on goal difference, they are in third place. Fourth place, the first playoff spot, we have Carlisle on 70 points. They actually drew 0-0 at Walsall, and Walsall did have a man sent off as well. It's been a bit of a hot-headed week in the weekend, in the lower leagues. Been quite a lot of sendings off.
Shameful.
I know. Second playoff spot is obviously in fifth place, Stevenage, 70 points again. So it's very, very close. They drew 1-1 to Hartlepool, another team I'm fuming about because we needed Hartlepool to lose.
Everyone's just letting you down, isn't they?
Everyone's letting us down. If we gain points, the other team gains points as well. So annoying. Sixth place, we've got Bradford on 68 points. They beat Sutton 3-1 at home, so quite a good win for them. And in seventh place, the usuals, we have Salford on 66 points, and they actually won away 3-2 at AFC Wimbledon. So, yeah, a great win for them. Relegation, we have Crawley, 23rd. I'm buzzing now because it did get.
Do you know what? I'm gonna let me change this screen a minute because I'm not doing you justice because I've got a table that's far too old, so this is going to look very shoddy and unprofessional. But it's important. This is the crucial part of the whole thing now. What is going on, Shah, at the lower left side of the table?
So thank God Crawley actually got thumped by Barrow. So I am Team Barrow. Love Barrow now. Got a soft spot for him. And then we're at the bottom, unfortunately. But it's looking better. It's still a long step ahead. We've only got 5 games, so it's not looking good for us. But whatever happens, it is watchable again. It is really enjoyable to watch. Under Jim McNulty. He's took 3 games on now. He has 2 wins, 1 draw, so 7 points out of 9. Never expected that at all. So, yeah, no matter what happens, It's better. It's better. We drew 1-1 away at Mansfield, so good result. And Richard O'Donnell, everyone knows he's my favourite goalkeeper. He's my Her Game 2 player advocate, but he had such a good game today. Like, some of the saves he made, he kept us in it, because without him in net, we would have got absolutely battered. So, yeah, appreciation for Richard O'Donnell, everyone's favourite goalkeeper.
I just saw my dog just tried to come in and join us on the podcast.
Yeah, Richard O'Donnell. everyone loves him.
I didn't in the chat. I mean, there's a lot of love. You got Grimmy hoping for the great escape for Rochdale. He's got his fingers crossed there.
I really hope so.
Chris is saying you got Jim McNulty's getting players to fight. Not literally though. I like some of the other teams in that league.
That's what I've asked for. Like, that was frustrating under Jim Bentley, because if there were just no passion, no fight about these players. But obviously, since Jim McNulty's took these 3 games, these have probably been my favourite 3 great games all season, because we look like we want it, we look up for it. And even if we lose, but we go down with a fight and the players show they care, that's all we want.
Oh. And Curtis is saying Bentley should have been sacked months ago.
I completely agree.
And Tim in the chat, he wants Rochdale to sip because it's going to make Shah happy.
Oh, thank you, Tim.
No, that's almost the reason I want to go down. I'm only joking. I'm joking. Honestly, the only reason I could possibly want is so we can cover another league. That's the only positive I can see.
I'll happily cover National League if we stay up.
And Tim said Liam Kelly is ex-Oxford, and I hope he does more for you. And then we've got, who else?
He's quite inconsistent, to be fair. Like, it shows glimpses of quality, and you can see that he's kind of got that quality about him, and that he is a player, but he is very inconsistent, and he is very injury prone as well. So I do like Liam Kelly. He's shown glimpses, but he's quite injury prone, and you don't really need that, especially when you're in a relegation fight.
Yeah, and Chris is saying Rod, brilliant.
Yeah,
I don't know who Rod
Richard
is.
O'Donnell.
Right. I thought he's talking
Brilliant.
about God, and he just spelled it.
No,
carry on
Rod.
From last week's pod.
Initials ROD, Richard O'Donnell.
I got you. And also, Grimmy's he's in the same boat. He's hoping for a great escape for Blythe Spartans. They're in a league in football somewhere. I don't know. But best of luck to the Blythe Spartans as well. And there's new comments. I just can't keep up with these comments. Chris is agreeing with you that Liam Kelly is quality but inconsistent. Lisa says, well done, Shah. And Craig Bradley said the National League is mint and we should be covering it anyway. Potentially. But we need to edge. Well, as you can tell from this week, I don't know enough about the leagues that we are covering.
Shout out to National League, though, because that game before the Wrexham versus Notts County, that was absolutely great. And I know obviously people are saying like, oh, the money's behind these two teams, but even so, the football and just the game itself was so exciting. So hats off to them, because honestly, I had Rochdale on, but then I had like flash score up.
I mean, if I try and find their league, I mean, if you look at the top of the table there, they're actually on par. I think at 103 points is the record point title.
Yeah.
For the National League. So you're on par to have two teams breaking the points record. I think the goal score record. I think they're going to break that as well. So regardless, of whether they've got money behind them or not, to do it, if they do it this season the way that they have done it, that style, and you look at many games that they've got to play as well, and the pressure, like one automatic, that's it, one up.
How unfair would it be though if one of them go up, but then the other one got beaten like a one-off in the playoffs? That'd just be so like.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, as a Welshman, I want Wrexham to go up. Obviously, as a Welshman, I want Wrexham to go up. And yeah, he is in the chat. Everyone's favourite. Here's Sam. Hello.
Yay! I love Sam.
Yeah, we've missed you. I did a dreadful job of La Liga, so I do apologise in advance to when you watch this back and abuse me later. But he's in this podcast at least 103 points, at least. But yeah, I think it's just remarkable what they have done. And obviously, I want Wrexham to go up because the story. I love a story. Who doesn't love a story in sport and football? I think that's lovely. And if they can go up and then grow and develop, because the finances that Wrexham have got isn't enough money to get them like really far. It's just about enough. But I like it. I'd like that story. Notts County. I can only remember Notts County with Sven Goran Eriksson. That's all I could think of when I think of Notts County. Sven. Didn't they have Sol Campbell as well in defence at that time when they had all that money? Can you remember? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't know. I should know this as well because we played them we were in League Two quite a bit.
Yeah. Oh, you're going back. You're going back years. Somebody in the chat, surely, please don't make me feel like the oldest man to be involved. Here we are, Tim, in 2010, 2011. Sven Goran Eriksson was a manager at Notts County. They had somebody own it. Then they had Sven. They took Sol Campbell. There was like another one or two. Sol Campbell played one game yet, and then he cried, and then he says they never paid him the money that they owed him, and they screwed him over, and all of that jazz. And but yeah, then they something happened. The owner disappeared, and everybody went. There's a book or like a documentary on it. Trust me, honestly, I'm not mental. It did happen. And in Wrexham, Wrexham been there nationally for 15 years, and I just think the story of Wrexham. And one of the oldest sort of football clubs as well. I think it's great. I think they'll be lovely. But yeah, so here's hoping Wrexham go up and Notts County also go up and not somebody like Barnet or something.
I'm hoping them teams go up, especially because if we was to come down, I'm not saying we're going to challenge in any way, because obviously it's one of them with Rochdale. We could either go one way or the other. We could really struggle, or we could go straight back up. I personally think we will struggle. But if those two teams were to go up, at least got more of a fighting chance to go back up.
I love that. From a selfish perspective, then.
Yeah,
she doesn't care about you. She doesn't care about you, Hector or not. I care about you. I love you and want you to do well.
I like Ryan Reynolds. I think he's a great actor, and I love Green Lantern.
No one loves Green Lantern, you liar.
I love superhero stuff. I'm a Marvel fan.
But we've got the chat. So Tim was saying Tifo did a good investigation video on what happened at Notts County. Grimmy's questioning my mental capacities. And Lisa's a conference watcher. Good work for you. I think it's cheaper, so I would do. And look at Scunthorpe. What's going on with Scunthorpe?
Oh, they've been relegated. It's so sad to see because the club's just gone real downhill. And I feel sorry for their fans. They've been announced that they're relegated today, which is so sad.
Never.
So they've had back-to-back relegations, unfortunately.
Oh, that's not nice. So our commiserations to you guys. And Craig's saying, get yourself to Gateshead next season.
I will do. I really want to go. If obviously the worst does happen, which it's looking at even though we're on some sort of form, it's still not looking like, from what we can pick up, we've basically got to win every game, and then they've got to drop points, the ones in front of us. So it's not looking likely. So if it was to go down, I really want to do some of the grounds and stuff, the conference, because yeah, it's different, isn't it? I've never seen us in there before, so.
Trust the process.
It's a bit different. Yeah, trust the process.
Trust the process. You'll be safe. You're going to be safe.
It's looking more promising than a few weeks ago when I went on a rant.
Exactly.
About Kim Bentley. So at least it's looking a bit more positive.
Anything can happen. But exactly. I mean, I think that I tell you what, Tim, before we sort of round up, you remember Scunthorpe the Championship 10 years ago? Well,
yeah. Most of them players play for Stockport now as well.
That's wild.
They've got money as well, though.
And Chris is saying there's nearly 10k at Wrexham today. And I think they've been at pretty much capacity the last couple of games, which is just great for that.
Do you know what I loved as well? Sorry, just going off about Wrexham a little bit. A few weeks ago, they actually pledged their campaign to obviously her game too. So they had a double weekend. So it was
they had the women's one as well, didn't they?
Yeah, the men's game on the Saturday, the women's on the Sunday, and Ryan Reynolds invited Blake Lively.
I know, I was buzzing. I've been waiting for it to come the whole time. I was like, where is Blake Lively?
Honestly, it was so good. And as much as obviously we have these big superstars, they're so down to earth.
Yeah.
So did you see that message as well when this guy asked for a video message from his girlfriend. She was like, you should leave him. I just love it. Just the banter, and he's so down to earth, and just the fact that they've gone to this club and just what it's doing for these fans. I just think it's amazing. And it frustrates me because these people who are like, Wrexham, and it's just because of money, blah, blah, blah. It's all jealousy. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I wish it were my club, but you've got to think they've been in obviously they've been out of a football league for 15 years. They've obviously got this going on now. Just let them have the moment. Let them have this. It just winds me up when it's all like, oh, it's down to money and this. And yeah, it is. But at the same time, just let them have their moment again.
Oh, and show me a team that has done really well without spending money.
Exactly. So I've just realised as well, the more this pod's gone on, I look like a garden gnome. I've got to cut my hat off.
Well, there we are. So in conclusion, Charlotte is a garden gnome.
I am. That's my day job.
She's got a little fishing line as well.
I am.
Oh dear, but I mean, this has certainly gone longer than what we were anticipating. But it's because of all of the input that you guys have had. You've made it a really enjoyable pod. So thank you for taking part with all of the chat. It's really great. And for all of our audio listeners, you can be part of it too. You can join us at 8 p.m. live on YouTube and Twitch, but not just today. On Thursday at 8 p.m., I think we've got a light bite. Charlotte, do we know what's going on the light bite yet?
And me and Sam, we came up with the idea of either having, if Rochdale won, we're going to do a half an hour special on how Rochdale are going to be saved and they're not going down. But unfortunately, we only got a draw. So we are going to talk about footy scran and who has the best footy scran, because obviously we follow a page on Twitter and there's some great pictures. So we're going to do that.
And of course, so you want to be there. You want to be there. And I have to bring the banner up because I can never remember our own stuff. So to follow us and to find out more, make sure you follow us on Twitter at Absolute Ball Pod. Oh my God. On Twitter, we're at Absolute Ball Pod. On TikTok, we're at Absolute Football Pod. On Instagram, Absolute Football Podcast. You think I'd make it all the same so it'll be easy to remember, but why do that? I want to challenge you all, so you have to show real dedication to find us. Oh God. But that's where we are. So please follow us. And then of course you can be there then for all these wonderful podcasts that we've had. And hopefully, you never know, in the future, we might be really lucky to get more Kira. Who knows? But you can find more Kira. She video is live. She did all about Everton. We went through all the joys and the highs and the lows of loving Everton. But there's a great content there, so you can check her out on that video. But Kira, if people need more Kira in their lives and they have to get it, where can they find you? Where are you?
I mean, God knows why you'd want to, but Twitter at KieranOx06 and Instagram at KieranOx06. I made it the same to keep it simple because I'd never remember it, but yeah.
That is a sign of an intelligent individual, which I've fallen apart on. But Charlotte, of course, everybody loves a bit of Charlotte. If you want to ask anonymous questions, she does that. Keep them questions she can answer, though. That would be really lovely. And if they want to do that, Charlotte, where can people find you? Where art thou?
I am most active on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. I'm SharXRAFC. And also, there's been lots of really good content coming through on my Rochdale Her Game 2 stuff, and loads of pictures of youngsters and videos of them enjoying football and just celebrating their achievements. So if you do want to keep tabs on that, it's Rochdale HGT on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. I don't think I've mentioned. And also we are recording on Wednesday an All About Burnley episode, so there'll be a lot of stuff on our Absolute Ball Pod Twitter, and there's a chance to ask Dan from Turf Moor podcast some questions. So obviously if anyone wants to get involved on that, just keep tabs on it, because we'll be asking for questions and any input you've got for him. So yeah.
Oh, she's so professional. So professional.
I'm not.
And if you want some really unprofessional, if you want some really unprofessional content, I am at FMFO_official. I forgot there was an underscore in there, but it is at FMFO_official on Twitter. That's where I'm doing most of my stuff at the moment. There is a Twitch and a YouTube channel. There's stuff there you can watch. Why not? And Instagram as well, and on TikTok. There's old stuff there. Why not? Check it out. I am absolutely everywhere, and you will absolutely love it. And should you follow this podcast, absolutely. And before we go, any interest, I'm going to try and get through all of this. Footy Scran, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Grimmy saying Blythe Scran is ugly. United playing Sevilla on Thursday as well. Maybe they'll give you a little bit of update on that game. And lots of love. Look at all this love. All this love. It's been brilliant. It's been brilliant. Thank you ever so much. What we've got here, I'm losing everything. Wonderful pod. Thank you very much, Grimmy and Charlotte. You're the most professional gnome Grimmy has ever seen.
Oh, thank you.
I love it. Reporter bestie. But thank you, Charlotte, for being on as always. You're wonderful. Kira, thank you very much for being there. Hopefully, you never know, we might get more Kira in the future. If we do, that will be absolutely wonderful. And to everybody that's been in the chat, genuinely, really, really appreciate it. You make it so much fun, and you are the reason we've went about 40 minutes over what we would anticipate. So thank you massively for sticking with us. Hopefully, we'll catch you next time. Trust the pro.